Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. It's Tuesday, May 27th. I hope you had a good long weekend, and I hope you enjoyed everything that we have been talking about throughout the last few weeks in terms of, you know, it's trying to get that financial life in the right perspective. And also maybe we have to give you a little bit of a boost before you head out on your summer vacation. Whatever is going on for you, we are here for you. And that means that all you need to do is, if you've got a financial question, anything at all that is bothering you or exciting you or something or other has to do with money, give us a holler. Go to our website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, write us your note, and also, don't forget that if you'd like to join us live, you can check the box. Mark will do everything else. So just want to remind you that coming up soon is our next live webinar. Mike Quincy from Consumer Reports, he's the automotive expert there. Thursday, June 5th, 7 Eastern Time. He will be joining us for a live webinar. And when I say us, I mean all of you who are members of Jill on Money Live. That is where, for $45 for the next 12 months, you have access to quarterly live webinars, the entire back catalog of webinars, and bonus audio and video content. So Jill on Money Live is where you will find all of that. All right, let's get to you. Today, we are talking to James, who joins us from North Carolina. Hi, James. How are you?
Hey, good to be on the show, guys. Thanks so much.
Oh, excellent. What's going on? How can we help you out?
I have a pretty good feel about how my finances are, but I'm just kind of wondering, should I retire sooner versus later?
Yes. Okay, moving on. No, I'm just kidding. What are you? Do you hate your job? Do you like your job? What's going on for you?
The job is good, but I'm just wondering, like, I'm 57, about to turn 58, and the number of years where I'm going to be able to be active are dwindling, and I'm just wondering.
Yes.
Do I have enough there to walk away? I know I do. I think I do, but there's some other questions I'm not really clear on.
You know what's funny about that? I've also been thinking about this. I'll tell you why. I was in London recently, and I was with some friends, and they told me about this wild trip that they took. It's basically like you fly up to like the northern part of Sweden, and you get on the back of a dog sled, and like you basically mush your husky, and you go from hut to hut, and you see like northern lights and this amazing thing and all this stuff. And I thought, that is a trip that you really, you can't be waiting around for. You have to be in good shape to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought the exact same thing. Like, you're going to wait around to do things like that, or are you going to go do it right now? And then the question is, if you want to do it right now, do you want to do it in the middle of your work life? So, James, you're about to be 58. Tell us what else is going on in your financial life. So are you married, partnered? What do you got going on?
Yeah, married, 2 kids. One is about to graduate high school and go to college, and the other one's 2 years behind.
Does your spouse work?
Part-time.
Okay. How much do you guys make together?
Say 150.
For college for the kids, is that taken care of? Have you set money aside? What's happening there?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close. We've got about $165,000 set aside right now.
For the 2 of them?
Correct.
And are they going to go to public school or private?
So far, one's going to public.
Yes.
So
I love that. I love that high school senior of yours. Make sure the sophomore does the same.
Yeah, we figured we got to get the first one to do it. So
good. You first, right?
Yes.
So, James, how have you guys managed to save for retirement? Do you have a 401k plan, or do you have a pension? What's going on for you?
Yeah, no pension. I have a 401k. I've got IRAs, mutual funds, and I have a couple other small accounts as well, like an HSA and a little bit of stock.
Okay. The 401k, is it all pre-tax, traditional?
The current employer 401k is mostly Roth.
How much is in there?
140.
And so you have IRAs, meaning rollovers from old jobs and stuff, and that's the traditional?
Correct.
Okay. And how much is in that pot of money?
So the way I would break it down to, starting with the smallest that I have, I have about 30,000 just in stock. I mentioned the 529. I have a small account with Vanguard that's 55,000. 30,000 of that is in an IRA, and then 25,000 of that is in old 401k. from a previous employer. So then my current 401k is at Fidelity, and that's a value of 140, and I have an HSA of 90 and an IRA of 25.
But when you said you had an old retirement account, right?
So I also have an account with Schwab, some other retirement accounts, ETFs and mutual funds. And this is where the majority of the money is at $3.65 million.
And that's mostly has not been taxed? I'm just trying to figure out, like, what are we looking at for your required?
Yeah, most of that has not been taxed. Yeah, there's a very small amount of that is in Roth money.
Okay. So you've got a good income right now, and you've got all this money socked aside. Do you also have money in the bank, kind of like boring money?
Yes.
How much?
Over 300.
Oh, that's some money. There you go.
But that's,
how about your house?
That's part of the Schwab account.
Okay.
There's mutual money market. I'm sorry. The house is paid for.
Worth
how much? 650.
You want to stay there?
Yes.
I know you have these two kids, so you still have expenses.
Correct.
Just where you are today, what is your expense on a monthly basis about?
I would say about $8,000 to $9,000 a month.
I'm not going to presume that actually goes down when the kids get a little bit older, because you'll have your money set aside. It'll be something, and maybe, I don't know. Let's keep that as like your goal. $8,000 to $9,000 a month of income is what you would like to live on eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you were given a magic wand, what is it that you really would like to happen? You want to say, I'm done this year. At the end of this year, I want to be done. Is that what you're?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that, or sometime next year. Correct.
Okay. So we want to say, do you have enough money this minute to be able to finance your future retirement, get these kids through school, all those fun things? So a couple more questions, James. So when you look at a Social Security benefit in the future, so let's, pretend it's 10 years from now, it's your full retirement age. What would you be entitled to for your Social Security? Do you know?
I do. At
what is that?
67, I'll get $4,000 a month, and at 70, I'll get $5,000.
Okay. And is your wife going to claim on half of your record?
She is.
Or does she have her own? Okay.
She would claim half of mine, and she is 10 years younger than me.
Oh, all right. Look at you. Nicely done. Okay. So she can't claim for a while. So, okay. So it seems like we have a couple of phases to think about, right? So let's say at the end of this year, you're 58, and then a year and a half later, then you start, you're 59 and a half, right? Because you said you're about to be 58. So at the end of 2026, you'll be 59 and a half, right?
Correct.
Is that right? Okay. So what we have to do is if you give your notice, you're done at the end of this year, then you have to float yourself for a full year, which means of that $300,000 that's money market, you're spending some of that down, right? Mm-hmm. Just going to spend it. You're going to float your lifestyle. That's already been taxed money. So let's say that you spend half of it. So, because I don't know, you have kids and stuff happens. So $9,000 a month adds up pretty quickly. And we are left at the end of 2026 with, instead of 300,000 in safe stuff, you got about 150, maybe it's 160. That's what's left. Now at age 59 and a half, we do have this 3.6-ish. Maybe it's a little bit less, but let's just say it's 3 and change of money that hasn't been taxed yet, right? That's the money that I think you would want to start living on between your age 59 and a half and your age 67 or 70. Does that make sense? Because one of the reasons I want to start to get it out over time, because then if we start to spend that down, then what you're not going to be forced with is this massive required minimum distribution at the time you're 75. So we're going to use that money. You're going to live on that money. You're going to pay the tax that's due on that money. And you're going to cry and say, oh, isn't it unfair? Yes, yes, yes. It's all terrible. But you have a bunch of money and you can do that. So, Mark, as you are busy doing some calculations in between eating some nuts, do you think that a game plan for James and his wife, where we're pulling down the traditional IRA assets, or we're withdrawing money over the course of, from 59 and a half to age, let's call it 70 even, will that be okay, sufficient, so that at age 70, they can use whatever the unused balance is of that account, plus the other assets they have, and be able to make it to grab that $8,000 to $9,000 a month. Is that possible, Mark Talercio? That is the question.
I think it'll probably work. It's close. It might be a little bit too close for me. I'm also wondering, does the 8 or 9 account for healthcare?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we have to buy healthcare on the exchange rate.
No,
okay. So we need to really do 10 or 11. You know what I think? I think that your original idea of kind of work, I think that you should work probably not till the end of 26. I'm going to say that I think you need a little bit of wiggle room here. So I think what you need to do is try to work until, you're about to be 58, maybe when you put 2 more years in. Right? I think if you put 2 more years in and you sock some money away, Mark, do you think that James should be continuing to put money into retirement, or should we build up the non-retirement assets that he's going to need, from age 60 to 70?
I mean, I don't know. He's got $300,000 in cash. So, I mean,
you're okay spending some of that.
Yeah, I am. And if he does decide to work another year or two, I think I'd probably rather get the Roth money.
Yeah. So maybe we have you continue, if you're going to do 2 years, let's say you do 2 years, so that really, you're about to be 58. At the moment you're turning 60. Now the kids are you got little one is actually heading to college. You have a better sense of what the dollar amount's going to be. And we have, one kid halfway through college. I think that makes more sense. I do agree with Mark in that I think it's possible. I think that if you really wanted to retire right now, that the way it could work is if you were to actually do something part-time. Do you have that ability in your current situation to maybe go to 3 days a week for some group of years, or is that not possible?
That's not possible. I mean, I would definitely do something part-time, but it wouldn't be enough to qualify for medical benefits.
Okay. Then I think you should probably, only because of the cost of going onto the marketplace and the Affordable Care Act, I think that I think your notion of, hey, if you're going to retire in 2 years, the numbers look better. They just will. And then what you'll have to do is go on to the Affordable Care Act. You're going to go onto the exchange, and you're going to have to buy yourself some health care unless you or your wife is in a position to go get a job that will offer you health benefits for some, maybe even if it were just like they kick in a certain amount based on how much time you give. But that, I think, would really relieve you. I think there's too much unknown right now. I think it is possible. I just don't I'm not feeling like you are doing this no problem. I feel like the two issues of the kids and not knowing where the little one is going to school, and also not having health care, kind of puts a little bit of pressure. Listen, you're in great shape. You really are. And if you were sort of normal kind of dude who's like, I'm going to work till I'm 65, you'd be in amazing shape. But I get the view that it would be nice to retire while you're still young and being able to do a lot of stuff. Listen, you got a kid at home now, so how much stuff are you really going to do?
Exactly. Yeah, that's
right?
That's kind of where I'm thinking. Like, I can't go anywhere.
I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, okay, work till the sophomore is done. Now it's 2 years from now. The sophomore is graduating. You know what college looks like. And now I think you're giving your notice and saying it's May of 2027, and I'm giving you my notice. I'm done at the end of 27. Done. And I think that's, unless something wildly fabulous happens to you between now and then, like you just hit it big. There's some big chunk of money that comes to you out of the blue. Not saying investment returns, just like some sort of windfall that occurs. Unless that happens, I think the game plan should be when little one retires, when little one graduates, then we are ready to rock and roll. And I think that's right. And I think I do agree. At first I was thinking, like, if you were going to actually call it quits this year, I may not use the Roth. But, if you're going to make it a couple of years, then why not get more money into the Roth? I know it seems weird because, like, I got $4 million. How can that not be enough? It's not actually the dollar amount as much as it is sort of the uncertainty of a couple of big issues. I think if we knew that the answer to those things, that maybe it might be closer, and maybe it will be. I don't want to, I hope you're not, does this bum you out?
No, I kind of was thinking similar, but it does, I was hoping you'd say, hey, you are great you should have retired 2 years ago. But
Yeah, James, do you have a very wealthy family that's going to leave you money?
no.
I wish you had that. Does your wife have something like some great aunt popped into your life, okay? And you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know I had this aunt, and she left you $1 million when she died? Then
No,
we're talking. Can you get me one of those? Get me one of those. You're young. You're still young. 57 is young.
Can I just ask 2 questions?
Sure.
So question 1 was, you said use some of that cash at age 58, 59, whatever it may be.
Yes.
Why not at age 59 or 58 and a half? Why not use the rule of 55 versus some of that cash?
Well, if you're waiting till 59 and a half, then you can just use whatever money's in a retirement account. You don't have to use the rule of 55. Once you're 59 and a half, you can get to your money.
Correct.
That's not a problem.
Yep.
So the question was between now and then. But I don't the reason why I would not want to invoke rule of 55 is that I don't want to touch your Roth assets. That's not the key to me. I want to touch the traditional assets because that's where your RMD problem is compounding.
Yeah, gotcha. The other question I have, second question is, I don't really understand RMDs and what to expect because it sounds like they're going to be, you said potentially painful at age 75. What would I expect?
Okay. So, you're so lucky because I happen to have this very handy dandy table right in front of me. Okay. So let's say that at age 75, and let's push the clock forward. You're 75 right now. Okay. Your first year of a required minimum distribution is based on your life expectancy. So let's say by the time, let's round it up. You got $4 million, right? Your first required minimum distribution would be about just over 4% of the total account value, which would mean that on a $4 million bunch of money that hasn't been taxed yet, right? Traditional money, you would be forced by Uncle Sam to take $160,000 in withdrawals. So it's 4.07% of the account balance when you're age 75, and it starts going up from there. So that's why when we talk about this ticking tax bomb, it's the untaxed liability that is sitting in those deferred retirement accounts. So $4 million, again, about at age 75, you would be forced to take $160,000 out. And if the account keeps growing, then the percentage of that account balance also is growing. And so let's say now all of a sudden you're at age 80. And you're like, oh, I pulled all this money out, but the account's still growing. And from 75 to 80, even though I pulled out $160,000, $170,000 a year, let's say at age 80, let's pretend the account is now worth, let's just pretend it's $3.6 million. Okay. Now the amount of the distribution at age 80 is $180,000 because the corpus, the total account value is so big that whatever you're pulling out in terms of a required minimum distribution is not whittling down the total account value. So that's why it's kind of interesting to think about using those assets that have not yet been taxed yet. Pull that money out, pay the tax that's due, use it. Now you're reducing the actual amount that's in that account, but you're letting all Roth assets continue to run because all those Roth assets, there's no tax due. And that should be the last money that we tap, the last. So, maybe it's, you've got that, you said, I have some money at Vanguard, you have some money at Schwab. When you total it all together and you look at whatever that pre-tax, that traditional asset base is, you can think to yourself, whatever that total is, take about 4% at age 75. That's what your required minimum distribution would be. So it's a big number, right?
Yeah, plus there'll be Social Security on top of that. So there'll be
Right. So now all of a sudden, if you're like, oh, okay, I'm 70 years old, I have $160,000 of an RMD, but then I have another $60,000 that is coming out from Social Security. Not your wife's yet. I haven't even included her because she's so young. But you put it together and you're like, oh, I'm still solidly in the 22, maybe 24% tax bracket. So, this is why all of these retirement account assets that have not yet been taxed it's wonderful that you've done it, but it becomes a future tax liability that we have to deal with. All right. Now, here's the deal. you're going to get back in touch with us. If you find that aunt that's leaving you $1 million, of course, let us know. And if something changes at work, let us know. Because I think that, lots of things and the world of work is changing so much that maybe there are different opportunities. But the worst case, like you're working until your kid gets through high school. I think it's pretty good. You'll only be 60 years old. It sounds like you're in good shape. So you'll be able to take the sleigh ride with me. So book your trip a couple of years from now. We'll do it. All right, James, thanks so much. Oh, and by the way, you got your estate planning done?
Yes.
Okay. Just making sure. What a nudge I am. Mark, I am a consistent nudge. Hey, if you are like James, you're thinking about early retirement, you're starting to say, hey, I want to enjoy those go early years of retirement, and you want to create a plan that's doable, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Write us a note. Let us know if you'd like to join us live. Mark will do everything else. Hey, don't forget that we've got another podcast that's called Money Watch. We drop our episodes for Money Watch on the weekends. You can actually subscribe to this show and Money Watch on the Odyssey app or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Try to lift someone up, change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.